The other requirement for us as we wrestle with this is to hold on to what Mark is attempting to communicate about the Syrophoenician woman in this story. When I get lost in the weeds of the language of dogs and children, what I miss is the vista of the forest wherein this woman is the hero, not the victim. If I get lost in the story of that, what I mean is when we were talking about this in our preaching meeting, we were talking about it and sort of wrestling with the harshness of what Jesus says, and we just sort of paused and said, if the Syrophoenician woman were in this preaching meeting right now, what would she say to us? And the sense was that she would say, you're getting lost in the words, and you're going to lose the fact that I'm the hero of this story, not the victim. As feminist theologians C.C. Kroger and Mary Evans note, let us not lose sight of this strong, sharp-witted Gentile woman who is altruistic and persistent and inventive, who does not hesitate to approach Jesus, and a Jesus who learns from a woman, who transcends the racist and sexist boundaries of his culture, who recognizes insights from outside the pale and acknowledges that faith can be found in the unlikeliest of geographies. They continue. Jesus is approached by a marginalized woman, a Gentile Greek woman, a Syrophoenician by birth. And there is an implied comparison between how this woman approaches Jesus and how the Pharisees and teachers of the law approach Jesus earlier in chapter 7. The woman's approach and the woman's faith is to be celebrated and emulated. In both instances, the woman's daughter and the deaf man, healing is found there. What Mark wants us to know is that those that are on the margins, that those who have experienced rejection, that those become the ones that find entrance into God's family. Where the religious elite are chastised, the unexpected ones, it's the unexpected ones, it's the women, the oppressed, those viewed as unclean and antagonistic to God, they come from places where God heals rather than scorns. And where the religious leaders display hypocrisy, these people from the places of desolation display a faith that is championed and is responded to by God. Their reward is more than healing, though. It is the embrace of God. Jesus sees them and Jesus embraces them. Jesus welcomes them into his family. And Mark invites us to follow in their faithful footsteps. The Syrophoenician woman and the man who is deaf and mute, their exclusion is exchanged for welcome and love and embrace. As British poet David Gascon so beautifully writes, Christ of revolution and of poetry, the rejected and condemned become agents of the divine, that humanity's long journey might not be in vain. Jesus offers invitation and embrace to those who have for so long experienced rejection and isolation at the hands of the religious.